It's an absolutely lovely day out today, so the plan is this afternoon to test out this um, outdoors drawing board I made, and it should hold palettes and brushes and water containers and things okay, but I don't really know if it's going to just fall apart when it gets wet and I use it, or whether it'll hold up. So it's a perfect day to have a go at using it and see how comfy it is and everything. So I'll find a nice bit of landscape to paint and head off on my bike. And I'm just packing it up now with the other thing I'm testing. This is my first time using a limited palette outdoors, and I have a blue, yellow and red that I'm mixing. I have a few extra colours. You're going to need a white on a limited palette as well, but I have a few extra colours in case I get into difficulties with greens and everything, which can be not as intense looking when you're mixing them up with particular kinds of blues. So I've added a couple of extra greens and I've added one extra blue, but it's kind of an augmented limited palette. So we'll see how we get on. 2 tests to do. I love doing field tests. I set out to paint sheep on the side of a hill this afternoon, and of course the sheep weren't there. You can see some sheep in the distance here, and there's some very nice things to paint, but I'm having difficulty settling on what it is I want to paint. So I'm looking at a few different things, taking a little walk around and stopping at different points, getting off the bike. I might actually start with this because the mountains are particularly lovely today and it's very clear. So I don't know whether I'm going to just do 1 or 2 studies of the same thing or move around a bit, but we'll see. We'll see how our little board performs. Take it out of the bag. And I had a bit of a problem when I was putting this in. It's very, very slightly too big. It could do with having about 1 inch shaved off it at the end, but I didn't like to do it before I came out because I was afraid it wouldn't accommodate my sketch pad that handy. But at the same time, I always use this rucksack and I wanted to be able to close easily. Here are the materials I'm working with on the board, but I'm going to take the paints off for a while because I'm going to just use pencils to start with, because I want to do a sketch on this side and painting on the other side. So it's a tonal study and then a painting. So I'll take out a few pencils and just work on the board with my small sketch pad first. Then I think I'll try something on the bigger sketch pad just to test the board properly. So this is about a 5-minute sketch because it occurred to me I don't have all day to hang around, and I ended up using both sides of the page because I didn't want it all cramped up. But I cheated a bit because I used the top of a sort of a post that's here to lean on. And I noticed that I was a bit nervous about putting pencils up here because there's a big drop down there and I don't want to have to get over barbed wire to try and cover any pencils that roll off. And there's this sense of trying to lean across your left hand with your right hand a little bit when you're working on the left side of the page. But I have to say, it is nice being able to have a few materials up near you. And the board was light enough to hold as well. So we'll go on to the painting and see how it feels to use it with the paints on it. Ready to paint, and wish me luck that nothing goes sliding into the abyss as I do. We'll see how comfy it is. I haven't done much of the drawing to any sort of detail because I'm hoping to do a lot of the work with paint. Not going too bad so far. My limited palette experiment is working okay. I'm managing to get some of the colours I want going. Hopefully you can see them. I can't see the screen too well. I'm having to change my hand position a little bit from time to time. My hand gets a little bit uncomfortable, and I have lost my little cloth that I wipe things on at least once on the road. But it's workable, you know. I'm going to have to put this down to clean the palette a couple of times as I'm going along. But it's much better than having to go right down to ground level to be able to get water or a brush or a colour. So it's doing good so far. Great stuff. We've got some very scenic cows that have joined the scene. I like a nice cow. So I put them in. I put in the cows. I'm going to try one more drawing just to test out the size of the bigger sketch pad on it. That wasn't as comfy as an experience as I thought it would be. There was a lot of juggling still went on, but you know, it was okay. It was an improvement in what I had been doing, reaching up and down to get things. So I have to clean this off a little bit before I try the next. I think I don't know if I'll just get time to do a drawing or whether I'll be doing a painting as well. I might stick to just a tonal drawing. I don't know. I'll see how I feel. So I have to do a clean up on this before I turn around and go to the other scene that's just back behind me here. So, you know, it's usable, but I thought that things were going to go flying off it at one stage. So I was a little bit nervous using it on that slope. So from scenic cows to scenic sheep in the background there, I'm quickly realising that this is going to have to be painted as well, because it's just too easy to just draw with your sketch pad instead of using the board and have a pencil. So in order to test the board, it has to be a painting, doesn't it? I am totally out of yellow paint, so I suppose I'm finished. Not an entirely successful experiment because limited palette wise I had to give up and resort to yellow ochre, and then it all ran amok from there. And board wise I found myself wishing that I had a tripod, because then you can make an easel and I wouldn't have had to balance it in my hand, which was a little bit uncomfortable. But it was a beautiful day and I did enjoy drawing, and you know, I got some okay stuff out of it. So I'm not unhappy, and it was a good test. So a good test means, you know, tweak things, you know, what works, what doesn't work, and I had a lovely day out. Right, time for tea. Off I go home. One last note. Look, I wondered whether the wet would affect the board. That's reanimated wood glue. It's the water of this has sunk down and reanimated it. So that's another bit of a fail, isn't it? Oh well, you learn by experience. Bye bye, you lot. Thanks for posing.